In today's fight news, we start off with your UFC 302 recap. At the Prudential Center, the highest grossing event ever was achieved with a gate of well over $7 million. In attendance, 17,834 attendees. On to the results as Andre Lima decisions Mitch Raposa by split decision. Aileen Perez gets the unanimous decision over Jocelyn Edwards. Basil Chavez with the unanimous decision over Mickey Gall. Jake Matthews gets the unanimous decision over Phil Rowe. Grant Dawson back in the win column with a unanimous decision over Joe Selecki. Jailton Almeida submits Alexander Romanov by rear naked choke in round number 1. Roman Kopylov gets a split decision over Cesar Almeida. Randy Brown with the unanimous decision over Elizeu Zaleski. Nico Price wins his rematch against Alex Morono via unanimous decision. Kevin Holland submits Michal Oleksiejczuk by armbar, in which he actually broke his arm during the match. In the co-main event, former middleweight champion Sean Strickland defeats Paulo Costa by split decision. And in the main event, lightweight champion Islam Makhachev defends his title against Dustin Poirier by a 5th-round Darce choke. After Makhachev's win, Bellator lightweight champion Usman Nurmagomedov jumped into the cage to celebrate with his friend and was promptly removed from the cage and the arena by security. After his big win in UFC 302, the champion Makhachev says that he wants to go for double champ status and challenge the welterweight champion. At the UFC post-fight press conference, Makhachev gave nothing but praise to Poirier, stating, "Dustin is a dog. This guy is still one of the best in the world." Dustin Poirier told reporters at the post-fight press conference that he's unsure if he's going to continue fighting or retire. After getting a controversial split decision win over Paulo Costa in the co-main event, which many thought should have been a unanimous decision for Strickland, the former champion says he thinks things that he says outside of the ring may affect the way things go with the scorecards and the judging. Strickland also called for a title shot, saying that he's paid his dues by fighting a fighter ranked below him at number 7 when he's ranked number 1. During the post-fight presser, Strickland also referenced former U.S. President Donald Trump being in attendance at the event, stating, "Trump is here. We had a convicted felon. Let's put on a show for this man." Kevin Holland described to reporters what he heard during the moments in which he submitted Michal Oleksiejczuk by armbar. "When I first put him in the armbar, I heard the pop. After that, it wasn't popping again, so I was like, I'm gonna have to do a full-blown break." After his win at UFC 302, Grant Dawson called for a matchup with Jalen Turner, saying, "He beat the guy that beat me," in reference to Bobby Green, who beat him last year. At the presser, Basil Chavez says he wants to work his way back up so he can one day get a rematch with welterweight standout Jack Della Maddalena. After her big win at UFC 302, Aileen Perez called for a matchup with Kayla Harrison, stating, "I got some big ovaries. I want to prove I can do this in 5 rounds. In classic Nate Diaz fashion, Diaz posted on his X account, quote-unquote, "Those fights were effing boring." UFC President Dana White said that he's open to Islam Makhachev moving up from the lightweight division to challenge for the welterweight title. On the topic of Makhachev, White says that he's great, but he doesn't call him the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. He reserves that spot for John Jones, stating, "For anybody to call Islam the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world when John Jones is still fighting is nuts and shouldn't be doing any of the rankings." White gave reporters a teaser saying that he is working on something behind the scenes with the BMF title. When asked about recent videos circulating of superstar Conor McGregor partying in the club just weeks before his matchup at UFC 303 against Michael Chandler, The UFC president says he doesn't know if any of that is real or not, and he'll talk to him when he sees him in the coming days. Just announced for UFC Abu Dhabi on August 3rd, Abdul Karim Al-Selwali will be taking on Guram Kutateladze. Also announced for UFC Denver on July 13th, Josh Frim versus Andre Petroski. Lastly, we finish with some boxing news, as William Hutchinson beats Craig Richards by unanimous decision for Team Queensberry in the 5 vs 5 event. Also for Team Queensberry, Nick Ball defeats Ray Ford by split decision, winning the WBA featherweight world title. Again, Team Queensberry, Hamza Shiraz stops Amo Williams in round number 11. WBA light heavyweight champion Dimitri Bivol stops Malik Zinad in the 6th round. Team Queensberry's Daniel Dubois stops Filip Hrgovic by TKO in round 8 due to cuts, winning the IBF interim heavyweight title. This makes him the mandatory challenger to Alexander Usyk. And in the main event of the 5 vs 5 Queensberry vs Matchroom, Zhilei Zhang defeats Deontay Wilder by a 5th round knockout, securing the clean sweep for Team Queensberry. After the 5 vs 5 event, both Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez threw shots on social media at Matchroom's Eddie Hearn.